Imagine buying your dream home, an elegant colonial on a tree-lined street, big enough to raise your children in, safe, quiet, beautiful. Now imagine this. Just days after you close the deal, a letter arrives. No return address, no signature, just your name, your children's names, and the chilling words, "I am the watcher." This is the story of 657 Boulevard, of a family who never even moved in because someone didn't want them there. And what makes it all worse, no one has ever been caught. This is Digital Detectives, and today we're diving into one of the most disturbing and unsolved modern mysteries in suburban America, the Watcher of Westfield. Derek and Maria Broaddus thought they'd made it. In 2014, the couple bought a gorgeous home in Westfield, New Jersey, an upscale town with a reputation for peace and prosperity. Derek had worked his way up in the insurance world. Maria was a local girl, raised not far from the new home. They had 3 kids. This house was supposed to be their forever place. 657 Boulevard was a sprawling 6-bedroom Dutch colonial with a wraparound porch, a grand staircase, and decades of charm. The couple couldn't believe their luck until the first letter arrived. It was addressed simply, "The new owner." At first, they thought it was a welcome note, but by the second sentence, that illusion shattered. 657 Boulevard has been the subject of my family for decades now, the letter read. And as it approaches its 110th birthday, I have been put in charge of watching and waiting for its second coming. The letter asked strange questions. Do you need to fill the house with the young blood I requested? Have they found what's in the walls yet? The tone flickered between friendly and threatening. Whoever wrote it knew the Broaddusses had children, knew their names, knew their birth order, even knew small details about their renovations inside the house. Derek was shaken. He stayed up that night, turning off lights so no one could see inside. He called the police the next day, but when the officer read the letter, he looked stunned. This is like nothing I've ever seen. A week later, another letter came. This time, it was addressed to both Derek and Maria. More aggressive, more familiar. "You have changed it and made it so fancy," the writer said. "It cries for the past and what used to be in the time when I roamed its halls. I am the watcher." The letters kept coming, each one filled with specific details about the family, their children, and their habits. "You have children. I've seen them. So far, I think there are 3 that I have counted. He or she watched them from somewhere close." That was the terrifying part. Whoever the watcher was, they were near. The Broaddusses began to suspect everyone. Neighbors, mail carriers, the couple down the block who never made eye contact, the house across the street where an elderly woman lived with grown children. All of them became suspects in their minds. Derek even set up hidden cameras and hired former FBI agents to analyze the letters. One profiler said the tone sounded like someone in their 50s or 60s. Another believed the writer had a deep resentment of wealthy people. Meanwhile, the neighborhood remained quiet. Too quiet. No one admitted to seeing anything. No one claimed to have heard a thing. As the fear grew, the Broaddusses made a heartbreaking decision. They wouldn't move in. The house sat there, fully furnished, beautifully renovated, and empty. The children never got to play in the backyard. Maria never got to unpack. But the watcher didn't stop. Even a contractor who visited the house received a message. And later, when tenants briefly moved in, the letters resumed. One included the line, "Maybe a car accident. Maybe a fire. Maybe something as simple as a mild illness that never seems to go away, but makes you feel sick day after day after day after day. What kind of person writes that? Word began to spread. The story broke online, then in newspapers, then on national television. Suddenly, everyone had a theory. Was it a neighbor angry about the renovation noise, a local prankster with too much time, or someone with a much darker purpose? Some online sleuths thought the broad deuces made it all up to get out of the mortgage, but handwriting analysis and DNA tests didn't match any of them, and the police never charged them with any crime. Others believed the house was cursed or even haunted. The truth? No one knows. In desperation, the Broadduses tried to sell the house, but buyers were wary. Who wants to move into a home with a stalker attached? Eventually, they sold it at a loss. And the new owners? To this day, they've reported no letters. The watcher disappeared, just like that. So what happened? Here's what we know, and what we still don't. Suspect 1. A family member of a neighbor with a history of mental illness. Police investigated, but DNA didn't match. Suspect 2. A former bidder who lost out on the house. They were angry, resentful, maybe unstable, but no concrete evidence tied them to the letters. Suspect 3. A local who simply hated change. Some believe the writer was obsessed with keeping the house pure and untouched, but no charges were ever filed, and the watcher's true identity remains a complete mystery. Since then, the case has been featured in podcasts, documentaries, and most famously, a Netflix series starring Naomi Watts and Bobby Cannavale. But the real story? Much darker, much quieter, much scarier. Because it actually happened. And to this day, no one knows who was behind it. Imagine being watched every time you open a curtain. Imagine not knowing if your kids are safe. Imagine receiving threats from someone who sees your every move and signs their name only as the Watcher. The Broaddus family never got justice. No arrests, no apologies, no closure, only questions. Was it a neighbor who felt entitled to the house? Was it a person with a psychological obsession? Or was it something else entirely? 657 Boulevard still stands today. Beautiful, quiet, and, for now, uneventful. But if the watcher is still out there, are they watching a new family? Are they still waiting? At Digital Detectives, we bring you the mysteries that still haunt the internet and real life. This one is far from over. What do you think? Was the watcher ever real? Or is the truth something even stranger? Leave your theory in the comments. Hit the like button if you felt the chills. And subscribe to Digital Detectives for more stories that stay with you long after the screen goes dark. Because some houses don't want to be lived in, and some watchers never stop watching.